Hello, this is Hector Vladimir again with our 5th episode of Living Off the Grid in the City. Today is August the 18th, 2015.
I've been keeping myself so busy.
I wanted to start to wrap up the theme or the topic of disadvantages of being part of the current grid system or power structure, utility power structure, including power, electric power, water, television services, phone services, etc. The whole gimmick, the whole inclusion of all the power structures there, all of the power entities that you have a bill for basically come to your home or to your apartment or to your place of residence every month. The disadvantages of those are many. I have mentioned several, and I will begin to wrap up this section of this show. I would like to discuss just a few bits of information that I researched just recently last night on some of the statements I made in the past few shows. First of all, the relation of water to power. I will post this recording along with the link to the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, which clearly states and lays out the relationship between water and electric power. Water is highly energy demanding, as I mentioned before, consumes a lot of energy to produce, treat, generate, deliver to the home, does cost money to keep water service on. And you depend, or many of your appliances or home systems depend on water to be powered, to be energized, such as your bathrooms, kitchens, water hoses outside to do any kind of washing, etc. Not to mention how you need water for drinking and washing and other cleaning activities. Like I said, the website lays it out very clearly, and it does promote the conservation of water, not only to conserve water itself, but to conserve energy, electric energy, and the energy it takes to treat such resource. Many trucks are used to deliver water, not only for drinking, but for other uses all over the place, both to residential places and commercial and governmental, military, etc. Water is very energy intensive when it comes to treating it, as mentioned in the website. And the less water we consume, the less water we waste, the less energy that is consumed and wasted as well. And this is all according to studies and findings from the Environmental Protection Agency. Check it out. Next thing I want to discuss is the cost of energy, specifically energy that most residences use, such as power. Most people use such as gas that they put in their car, fuels such as natural gas, not only gasoline or diesel, but natural gas, liquid propane, and other fuels that they put to work at home, at work, etc. Another one is charcoal, which is made from wood, basically, or wood product. And the cost of all of these energies, all of these resources that create energy, average to nationwide, this is here in the United States, it's over $3,000 per person per year. That's a lot of money per person. It adds up. Let's say it's just $3,000 to make it even easy to calculate. That's $150,000 over a 50-year period, or more or less an adult lifetime on average here in the Americas. $150,000. That's more than the average cost of a home here in the Southeast, going by recent home prices. That's a lot of cash that you would spend over a lifetime. And again, this is any kind of energy expenditure, be it putting gas on your gas tank for your car, or buying that 20-pound LP or liquid propane gas tank for your grill to cook food. So the cost is enormous, and this is just average. On the high end, it could be about double that, if not more. On the low end, it could be just a bit less. This is average. In many of the Southeast states, as I noticed on that website, many of the states, the high end for energy use per year per person is close to $5,500 per person. And I was surprised that some of the higher energy use states are not the states that you would think that would use a lot of energy, such as California, Washington State, the northern states that you would think that they would use huge amounts of energy for the cooler weather to keep a warm environment in all of their buildings, large populations. But instead, some of the southern states, especially poorest states, Mississippi, Louisiana, some of the other southern states are the most energy consuming areas in the country, which is quite interesting. I invite you to visit this website. It's interactive. You can click on any of the United States and regions maps, and it'll give you estimated amounts of the energy used per person per year. And it breaks it down into 3 categories: transportation, combined, and residential, which transportation is probably over 50% of the energy used by each individual per year as far as cost is concerned. So again, the Department of Energy has this figure of a little over $3,000 per person per year, which adds to over $150,000 per year on average. So the amount that you can save by renouncing to such a system as the one we have right now for energy would be enormous, because the system as it is set up right now is conducive to waste and inefficiency, because it is out for profit, out to protect the growth of other corporations, the corporations that provide you with such service. And believe wholeheartedly that if this power, if this responsibility is put in the hands of the millions of people that want power, that want energy, they will, with all of their efforts, all of their attention, heart, and knowledge and care, produce more efficiency. They will try to improve the efficiency of their own systems that produce energy for their own use very, very fast and very diligently. I mean, this is just inherent in the system. If you own it, if you produce it, you will try at all costs to improve it, because your own improvement, your own benefit, your own comfort depends on it. Another fact I looked up and I wanted to share was the efforts from power companies, from utility companies and the like, to thwart and to attack alternative energy efforts, whether it be companies, laws, you name it, individual citizens trying to get off the grid, trying to produce their own energy. Companies, utilities, and their governments are after such efforts. This is increasingly being reported in many channels throughout the internet, on TV, even on the radio. This is reported very widely. I mean, all you gotta do is do a quick search and you'll find perhaps dozens or more of reports, recent reports of utility companies trying to use their leverage, their power, political power, their financial resources, and more to try to sway their governments to limit power companies that use alternative energy such as solar, wind, etc. For example, NPR, the National Public Radio, reported recently that there was a leaked memo or a leaked presentation about the strategies that utility companies should, will, and are using to thwart the installation of roof-mounted solar panels. This is verified reports from recognized journalistic organizations that this is happening. This is not something that's just a theory by some conspiracy theorists. This is right there on the surface, black and white, very widely reported. There was another report about the same subject, same matter, and it was titled, I believe, how power companies are wielding their power over their governments or over solar. Basically what it said was that they are attempting to create a monopoly as far as being able to sell power to the people, not only in areas but in whole states. They're attempting to make themselves the only show in town, the only providers of energy, that basically you would have to go through them before you're able to sell power to anyone. If you're an alternative energy company or organization that can produce power and try to sell it to consumers. Many areas have been prevented from developing solar and other alternative energies because of laws that have been enacted that protect the utility companies. And they say that, oh yeah, there will be more than one companies laying cables and providing power, and that would be disruptive to the system, and it could cause unanesthetic sights or ugly installations, and it could be a safety issue. This is their excuse, their pretext, which is ludicrous, and it's unbased on any evidence, any kind of study. This is a monopolistic system that wants it all for itself, and it does not want to change. It wants the technologies all for itself. It does not want the people to be able to harness it and buy it and produce their own energy. They rather have you pay the bill and they take care of it. That's how they want it to be. That's how they want to keep it. They do not want it to change. And yes, there is a disadvantage, huge disadvantage to that, and it is that there is no innovation, there is no advance. Everything stays the same as it has been for the past probably 7 to 8 decades with oil and gas, where everything is just about the same. Yes, they produce it faster. It's a bit cheaper relatively compared to how it was when it first started, and taking into consideration the value of the dollar. But guess what? It is still highly harmful to, again, the economy, health, and the environment. That has not changed, and they do not want it to change because they're looking out for their own interests, their pockets, their bank accounts, and that is all. They're doing it. They're providing the service not to better the world, but to better themselves. And this is evident in the efforts they're making in trying to prevent clean energy from spreading and growing in many areas. This is evident also in a report that I will post that is titled more or less, Why Governments Do Not Want Clean Energy. Again, governments are highly encouraged by multi-billion-dollar corporations. They are swayed. Their hands are forced by these multi-billion-dollar corporations that are inside of their territories. I mean, how can they not? If you have a multi-billion-dollar corporation in your city, in your county, in your state, that company is not forced to stay there longer than it takes them to move. They can just pack up and leave and go to a more friendly state when it comes to allowing them to generate profits. And that's how they fix their disagreements with any government. And how can the government not be influenced by such prospect of a company just packing up? Probably a very large employer, a very large contributor to the state, city, or county tax coffers. How can they not be highly influenced by the demands of such corporation? And that is a flaw. That is a problem within the system. And that is one of the reasons why the current power structure, energy structure, should be reformed, should be very much changed. And again, this small radio show is attempting to at least start doing such things.